changed my life. It healed me. It genuinely healed me. Well, pulling yourself out of a dark place, I feel like at the beginning it seems almost unfathomable. For somebody who's always maybe been depressed and always thought of life in a negative manner or experienced the worst of life, sometimes it can seem a little bit unthinkable for you to have a different life. It changed something in my brain. Your neural pathways change, and then you start to begin to program your brain to think in a more positive way. You become less triggered by events. You start looking for the good in things. You start seeing challenges as opportunities for growth.
I'm here with Coach Ria. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. How are you today?
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, very good, very good. So obviously, I've seen some of your content and it's very inspirational. Can I ask you, how did you get into the coaching sector? What made you want to be a coach?
Well, it's funny. I had a spiritual awakening in 2020. It was a part of my life where it was like a big shift. I was in a really low, dark place before that. And then I had a spiritual awakening. I found out so much knowledge about the world and about, the power of your mind and what life is really about. And I felt like that kind of was like a catalyst for everything else. And yeah, here I am now as a life coach.
Okay. So when you must have seen a lot of struggle and pain and hardship in the many years, that you may have been a coach or very recently.
Yeah.
Is there kind of any one bit of advice that you would give someone that's suffering mentally, that you can tell them, listen, it's going to be okay?
Yeah, I would say to them that their mental health is in their hands. And I know that there was a point when I was depressed that the thought of not having depression seemed unfathomable. I remember thinking, wow, there's actually people out in the world that aren't depressed, they're actually happy. And to get my head around that, I just couldn't imagine it. And now what I would say to them is, for somebody who is, not okay and maybe depressed, is that there is so much hope and that you have so much power over your mind and over your life. You are the architect of your own destiny. You create your destiny and you do it just through thinking. That's it.
Oh, wow, okay. I like that, architect of your own destiny. Okay. So obviously this is a very taboo topic, you could say, not so much recently. We're talking about, mental health and suicide. This is a big one.
Yeah.
So obviously, celebrities are, taking lives because they feel like they can't deal with, the pressures of social media especially. Have you ever experienced kind of social media hate or anything like that feels like, this is just too much?
To be honest, I've been lucky. I haven't experienced that much. But yeah, I've not experienced that much. I mean, I've had, sometimes people say, message random things that are quite uncalled for and really random, but the way I look at it is, everybody is a reflection of themselves. So whatever I say for example, I'm trolling you on the internet.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm saying to you is a reflection of me. I'm coming at you maybe because I'm jealous of you, you make me feel insecure, you're clearly triggering pain points within my life. So when I think about online hate, I just kind of feel bad for them. And I like to think, I wonder what they're going through that makes them so hateful and so charged up, so triggered to the point where they have to bully people, because most of the times bullies are bullied themselves in life.
Yeah, okay. And obviously your journey is an interesting one. We spoke about this off camera.
Yeah.
Because you're from Wolverhampton now, but talk to us about how you became Coach Ria.
Okay, so I would say when I was younger, I wasn't spiritual, but I don't, because I was raised in a household where religion was so important and it was kind of forced upon us.
Okay.
I didn't really get to explore that aspect, but it all kind of changed at university.
Okay.
Obviously, when you move out and you leave your parents' comfort of home and safety, and you go out and you meet so many different people. I had so many challenging experiences, which obviously, left me in a place where I felt like It was like an empty pit, like a such a dark pit of darkness, and I just felt like the lowest of the low, you know, like so low, just depressed, anxious, suffering from PTSD, and I just didn't want to live anymore. You know, I didn't want to be alive. I just thought, why does God hate me? I felt like a victim. I felt like, oh my God, I have so many problems, and every day all I would think about is, I've got this issue, I've got this problem, I've got this problem, I've got this problem, and then it's like a cycle. Once you start thinking in that way, you start attracting that kind of energy, you know, because we attract what we are. Because I was so negative, because I was so depressed, I was so in such a dark place, all I was attracting was more problems, more, you know, people that weren't kind to me, toxic relationships, friendships, and it just got worse and worse until I started watching documentaries on Gaia. So Gaia's almost like the spiritual Netflix, if you will.
Okay.
It has loads of different documentaries on there, from, you know, ancient civilizations, spirituality, the reality of your mind, like the power of your mind. And once I started watching that, I realized that, wow, these thoughts that I have, I can control them. I'm the one that's thinking these thoughts. I'm the one that's energizing them. So if I was thinking in a very depressed manner and thinking, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, what about if I started being grateful for the things that I have? And energy flows where attention goes. Because my attention was on lack, on scarcity, on the bad, on the negative, I could find a million things that were bad, right?
Yeah.
When I shifted my focus to the good, what do I have in life? You know, I'm so grateful for my family, for my home, for my health, for my wealth, for everything.
Yeah.
I realized, wow, I have so much. I have so much love.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that shift changed my life. It healed me. It genuinely healed me. Well, pulling yourself out of a dark place, I feel like at the beginning it seems almost unfathomable. For somebody who's always maybe been depressed and always thought of life in a negative manner or experienced the worst of life, sometimes it can seem a little bit unthinkable for you to have a different life, for you to be happy, for you to be positive. I know that was, you know, something that I personally experienced, but once I started being more grateful for the things that I have, once I shifted my focus from lack and scarcity to abundance and all the love I have in my life, all the love that I receive, then it just changed something in my brain. You know, your neural pathways change, and then you start to begin to program your brain to think in a more positive way. You know, you become less triggered by events. You start looking for the good in things. You start seeing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Okay.
Energy flows where attention goes. And that was such a profound shift for me, because once I realized that if I'm focusing on lack, if I'm focusing on the things I don't have, on the things that I'm not, on the areas where I'm lacking, then I'm drawing more of that in. And I personally experienced this. You know, when I was focusing on, I don't have enough of this, enough of that, I would experience more and more time and situations where I wouldn't have enough. But then that changed. When I started focusing on things that I do have, you know, I started making gratitude lists. I would repeat mentally to myself, I'm so grateful for this, I'm so grateful for that. And then all of a sudden, by magic, I would have so many miracles, you know, so many instances where I would be given things, I would receive abundance and love and kindness from people. Yeah.